closer, and it says that thou prepares a table before me. Y'all gonna catch this. In the presence of my enemies. What does that mean? That means that all of your haters that tried to tear your name down and come against your ministry and say you weren't gonna be nothing, God said, I'm about to prepare a table before you on this day of Pentecost. God said that let your haters show up because they can't sit at this table. God said, I provided for this table, but the one thing that they cannot do, they cannot sit at your table. This table is by invitation only. Have I got a witness here? And ain't no haters at my party. Look at somebody and tell them, neighbor, I'm living in a hater-free zone. Touch your neighbor and say, oh neighbor, I'm living in a hater-free zone. Well, I got one more thing to tell you. After the Lord prepares the table, he said, thou anointest my head with oil. I need to put a quarter in the meter, because if God has to anoint you with oil, you've got to look at the process that oil has to go through. It starts out as an olive, and then the olive is placed in a press, and it goes under pressure. After it's pressed, it loses its shape, but it brings forth the oil. I've come to tell you that the hell you're going through, God is pressing you out of shape for a reason. God is pressing you out of shape for a reason. Let them lie on you. Let them talk about you. Because when I come out, I'm going to be greater. Because this time, I'm coming out with an anointing. You saw me before, but wait till God gets finished anointing me. Do I have a witness here? Is there anybody here that's waiting for your next level of anointing? Well, the next thing I've got to tell you is that he said that he anoints my head with oil. And the last thing he said is my cup runneth over. That's why I asked him to bring this here. Because if you go to a table, you begin to look at the table. The one thing that the table has, it has a cup on it, and it has a saucer on it.